language and linguistics. And last unit, basics of grammar is remaining. Then we finish. So here in unit 8 or chapter 8, language and linguistics, there are 5 sub headings, like definition we have to discuss of language, definition of language, characteristics of language and varieties of language, then approaches of language, English sound system, and comparison between Nepali and English sound system, basic concept of linguistics, pedagogical implication of linguistics. These are the headings we discuss in unit 8. First we talk about what is language. Brief introduction. We talk about language. Now, may I ask you all to write a few things about what is language? Lekhnuhoस् तल त chat box ma. What is language? I request you all to write some points about language. Yes, go on. Means of communication. Language is means of communication. Okay, great. So your ideas I will write here. Means of communications. Okay. Voluntary vocal system of human communication. Voluntary vocal system of human communication. It is voluntary vocal system of human communication. Species, yes. It is species. Species. S-P-A-C-I-F-S. Species. It is species specific. A systematic means of sharing information. Okay, means of communication we have written. Means of communication. Communication through human speech sounds. Okay, it is shared core means of, it is language is vehicle for cultural transmission. Okay. Language is arbitrary. It has certain rules. It has certain rules. It is rule governed. It is rule governed. Language is means of communication we have written. Language is changeable. It is arbitrary. A symbolic feature, especially for communication. Okay. Others. Specific. A system of systems. Okay. Yes, human space. Species specific. Yes, this is specific. Species specific. Jati visheshko, it is related to only what human beings. Language is a means of communication through which we express and share our feelings, ideas, okay, emotions. Nari Prasad has written this. Nari has written languages. Language is a means of communication through which we can express and share our feelings, ideas, and messages to each other. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your ideas. Yes. Now, great. Yes, HAR share. Okay, these are your ideas. Mhm. So, participants' ideas. Uh, That's great. Okay. Mhm. Okay. So you said, thank you so much for your sharing. You said language is means of communication. एउटा सञ्चारको माध्यम हो. Voluntary vocal system of human communication. It is species specific. यो जाति विशेषको स्पेसिस जाति हैन स्पेसिफिक विशेष जाति विशेषको जाति विशेष हुन्छ. Language is species specific. It is the human quality property. Communication through human speech sounds. We use human speech sounds. We have different sounds according to the language. English language has different sounds. Nepali language has different sounds, and we use those vocal sounds. Then we communicate. And language has certain rules. It is a rule governed also. We have finite set of rules and can produce infinite number of sentences, which are grammatically fine and acceptable sentences also. And they are used to communicate our ideas, feelings, and meanings and message to each other. So this is about language. यति बुझेपछि हुन्छ हैन. This simple way बाट बुझौ. ठीक छ यो हैन. Now some additional points. Now see here, same thing, not different. Same things are here, like language is species specific, and species uniform possession of mankind. So this species specific jati visheshko huncha, and this is what species uniform possession अथवा यसलाई के भनिदिन सकिन्छ भने it is the अलि सजिलो बनाउनको लागि language is species specific, and it is property of property of mankind or human beings. So this is what language. You have also said this, and it is God's special gift to human being or mankind, a special gift. So human beings, language is what special gift from the God to the human beings. Because of this, human being is superior creature in this world. So because of it is because of this special, because of this special quality or PROPER property, human beings are what superior, superior creatures in this world. Why human beings? Why are human beings superior creatures in this world? Because human beings have or possess language, and that can be used to express their internal feelings, meanings, and used to establish relationship in the society, maintain relationship in the society, and they make a kind of a civilized society because of this kind of a possession. In comparison to other creatures, human creature is what superior in this world because of the language. Language they possess. So without language, human civilization as we have today would have remained impossible. So today we have this kind of a society and civilization, human civilization, होइन, मानव सभ्यताको कुराहरू छन्, होइन. So this is possible only because of what? Language. If we did not have this kind of quality property, then it wouldn't have been like today's human civilization, human civilized society. So language is sole possession of human beings. Soul means only property of quality of what? Human beings, possessions, swamitva. So only related to what? Human beings. This possession means related to what? Related to human beings. And language is primarily human characteristics. यो मानवीय विशेषता हो, हैन. Language is what? Primarily, mainly human characteristic, distinctively human characteristic, and mainly determines man's nature and personality in this what? World. Human characteristics हो भने determines what? Man's nature and personality. Your nature and personality language को कारणले गर्दाखेरि determine हुन्छ. So language is mainly human characteristic and mainly determines man's nature and personality in this physical world. We use language as a means of what? Expressing here. So we should remember this means. Language is a means of expressing ideas, thoughts, feelings, desires, emotions. This is what? Language. And it is through language we human beings what? We store knowledge and ज्ञानको भण्डार गर्छौँ हामी, transmit message, and we send from person to person, and experience message and knowledge, अनुभवहरू, सन्देशहरू, ज्ञानहरू we transmit, we store, and what? From one to another person, one to another generation too also. एक पुस्ताबाट अर्को पुस्ता, एक व्यक्तिबाट अर्को व्यक्तितिर ट्रान्समिट पनि गर्छौँ. So this transmission or cultural transmission is what? One quality, one characteristic of what? Human language. So we see this. Okay, and it is the human language that makes our life better or sweet. This is the language which is maker and unmaker of human relationship. अब यो भाषा नै के हो भने लाइफ को बिटर और स्वीट, एकदमै मजाको जिन्दगी, हैन, एकदमै पट्टार लाग्दो दिगदार नमिठो अनुभव बनाउने पनि ल्याङ्ग्वेज हो. हाउ वी युज ल्याङ्ग्वेज that determines life's bitter and sweet taste, and it is the maker or unmaker of human relationship also. The way we use language with the in the society, with the people, with the friends, this determines our life is being better and sweet, or maker and unmaker of human relationship. राम्रोसँग बोलियो, हैन, polite language use गर्न सकियो भने, then life becomes sweet, and then this will be the maker of what? Human relationship. We establish a relationship and we maintain relationship, then we communicate with each other. So this kind of qualities, this kind of features we see in human language. Researchers have also shown that without language, human beings would have remained only dumb animal. हैन, बोल्न नसक्ने के लाटा टाइपको प्राणी हुन्थ्यो होला ल्याङ्ग्वेज नभएको भए, हैन. रिसर्च अनुसन्धानले पनि देखाएको छ यो कुराहरू. Researchers have also shown that without human language, or without language, human beings would have remained only a dumb animal. Dumb, के D-U-M-B, dumb, बोल्न नसक्ने, हैन, dumb animal को रूपमा रहन्थ्यो होला भाषा नभइदिएको भए, हैन. This kind of human language if it did not have, then human beings would have remained only dumb animal. So this is what basic information about human language. So language is species specific. It is property of human beings. Language is property of human being, valuable property. Okay, then this is God's special gift also to mankind. And because of this, human being is what superior creatures in the world. यो अरू क्रिएचरहरू पनि छ, प्राणीहरू पनि छ। त्यो प्राणीहरू मध्ये मानव जाति चाहिँ के हो भने देन सुपिरियर creature. And human civilization today we have in the society, this is only possible by the use of what language, and this is only related to human beings. Others also communicate. Others also use some other tools to communicate their ideas with each other, but human beings use language to communicate their ideas, feelings, emotion, thoughts, desires from one to another, or from one generation to another generation. So animals also use some symbols, some means to communicate their ideas, but human communication system and what animal communication system different. फरक हुन्छ हैन. So one definition, if we see, language may be defined as the expression of thought by means of speech sounds. So we have in English, we have 44 human speech sounds, 44 human speech sounds. Then we use these 44 human speech sounds, then we communicate. 44 human speech sounds. They are what? Phonemes. PHONEMES phonemes. We have. So यही 44 sound हो, यता मिलाए पनि उता मिलाए पनि हैन. So many words we have, you see dictionary. We have dictionary using these 44 sounds. यो 44 sound को use होने हो हैन. 20 vowel sounds and 24 consonant sound. 24 plus like here 20 vowel sounds and then 24 consonant sounds. Altogether we have 44 what human speech sounds. We use these sounds and what we communicate our ideas, feelings, thoughts, like this. So language may be defined as the expression of thought, idea, feelings, desire by means of what speech sounds. Speech sounds we have 44 in English, and among them 20 sounds are vowel sounds and 24 sounds are what? Consonant sounds. र यो साउन्डहरुको बारेमा हामीले यो युनिटमा छलफल गर्नुपर्छ. 44 English sounds we have in English language. Then we have to discuss these sounds. Okay, you are saying 2 are added, but we are starting this 44 sounds. A comparison between human language and animal communication system. Very briefly, because we are talking this human language and how it differs from animal communication. Very briefly, be familiar, because what the differences do you see between human language and animal communication? Differentiate between these two. Content knowledge type of questions. So be familiar. Human being and animals communicate their message. They use different means of communication. Human beings use language to communicate, whereas animals use signs, symbols. Signs, symbols they use. Okay, symbols they use. The main differences between human language and animal communication are given below. Human language, this is all limited and infinite. This means it has certain rules, a finite set of rules. By the use of finite set of rules, infinite number of sentences, unlimited number of sentences we can produce. And animal communication system is limited and finite. They have same system to communicate, same way they use always to communicate. So this is limited and finite. And this is open system. Open system means human beings can communicate their ideas, that these are feelings, thoughts, using any kind of sentences, or they can use verbal and non-verbal features also. This is open system. Then this is closed system. So variation we don't have, variety we don't have in animal communication, but in human language we can have variation. Okay, we can use non-verbal communication system, we can use verbal communication system, we can use variety of sentences. And then this is extendable, modifiable, we can modify language. And then this has flexibility and full of variety. This is acquired. And then this is full of novelty and creativity and context free. And these are just opposite, unextendable or unmodifiable, inflexible and without variety, inherited, यो पुर्खौँदेखि यही आइरहेको छ हैन. Acquired भनेको सिक्ने हो यो हैन. यो inherited भनेको यो from one generation to another generation, same system is transferred. This is inherited, and this is what we read, we learn, and what we acquire. This is what our effort, conscious effort is necessary to acquire human language. Then full of novelty and creativity we see. Then this is what context free. These are some few points, just and then so yeah, chat box triphthong sounds are not count one. So sounds भन्नेबित्तिकै हामीले pure phonemes हेर्ने हो के, full phonemes हेर्ने हो हैन. So a combination of different sounds we don't count. Full phonemes just give one meaning in one sense, like one phoneme को रूपमा आउनेलाई चाहिँ sounds को रूपमा हेर्ने हो हैन. So triphthong sounds are not count. Why भन्नुभएको छ? And the combination of three sounds there हैन. Okay. Now, characteristics, if we see characteristics of human language on the basis of this, background information about language, we can, generate some characteristics of human language, like, and these are few to mention here. So, displacement, arbitrariness, productivity, cultural transmission, duality of structure, modifiability. These are the some characteristics, properties of human language. Human language ma यी देखिन्छ हैन, but these are not seen in animal communication system. Now let's talk about very briefly about displacement and arbitrariness, productivity, cultural transmission, duality of structure, modifiability. ट्याक्क यो एउटा दुईटा यसो एक्जाम्पल हेरौँ र characteristics what we finish, because in our course definition is there, characteristics there, varieties of language is there. You think that varieties, what are the different varieties of language? What are the characteristics of displacement? So cultural transmission, arbitrariness. यो 4-5 कुराहरु टक 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 हेर्दिन पर्यो हैन. So if we talk about characteristics, many attempts have been done. Many attempts have been done, or there have been many attempts to determine the main properties of a human language that differentiate from other animal communication system. So many attempts have been done, many attempts, or many what we say प्रयासहरु भएको छ भनौं न, to determine the defining properties or the main qualities of human language that help to differentiate a human language with what animal communication system. As a result, different list of features can be found. Generally, the following 6 features describe how they are unique in human language. किन human language मा मात्रै किन ह्युमन ल्याङ्ग्वेज अरूभन्दा फरक छ, युनिक छ, डिफरेन्ट छ. So these characteristics help us to know more about human language is unique and than other communication system. So displacement, can you write in the chat box what do you mean by, or what do you understand this displacement means in human language? के होला यो displacement भनेको? So I you are added भनेको छ. I र you के यो इंग्लिशमा यो साउन्डै थिएन र एडेड भनेको? Don't you have I sound? You sound we did not have previously. Okay. Krishnale लेख्नु भएको छ. So so I you are added भन्नुभएको छ. I you sound छ त हाम्रो पहिला के रहेछ म हेरौँला. So till now we understand the 44 human speech sounds in English. So chronological, then I'm asking about displacement, and you have written chronological change, past, present, and future. Language can define past, present, and future is displacement. They have able to produce beyond the time and place, ability to think and express, ability to think. Okay. It is displacement means language can vary from place to place, ability to talk. Okay. If we give one example, then you understand it. For example, udaharanko लागि, let's take one example of what. Let's talk about dog. Okay, dog is what one dog is animal. Dog is animal, pet animal, let's say. And one night, dog is spent outside, and he came back home. And when he came to the house, and he moves his tail, and just to inform that I came. Then when the owner asks, where did you where you yesterday? And where were you yesterday? Again, he moves his tail. उसले पुच्छरै हलाउँछ के हैन. एक रात बाहिर बस्यो हैन, आयो, आएपछि पुच्छर हलाउँछ मालिकको अगाडि आएपछि हैन. त्यो पुच्छर हलाउनु भने के हो भने just he has informed that I came. Then again my owner asked where were you yesterday night? Again same same he or she does like moves his tail. So same process, same system, same code, symbol, animals they use to talk about past, present and future. Past को कुरा गर्दा पनि त्यही पुच्छरा लागो छ, त्यही प्रेजेन्ट कुरा गर्दा पनि त्यही पुच्छरा लागो छ, फ्युचर को कुरा गर्दा पनि त्यही पुच्छरा लागो छ. भनेपछि this kind of system, very limited system, very restricted system we have in animal communication. But humans can talk about future, human can talk about past, human can talk about present. So this is called what? One quality of language is what? Displacement. Displacement is related to what? Time and what? Time, place, context. Humans can talk about present, past, future using language, whereas animals cannot communicate in different ways. They use the same system. And past भन्दा पनि त्यही गर्ने, present भन्दा त्यही गर्ने, future भन्दा त्यही गर्ने. So they have same close system, limited system to communicate about present, past and future. So this is what displacement. Your example सम्झिदिनु भयो भने, and it will be what? Easy to understand. यसले तपाईलाई सजिलो बनाउँछ. This characteristic refers to the ability to think about past, present and future. हैन, विगत, वर्तमान र भविष्यको बारेमा सोच्न यसले चाहिँ के हुन्छ? सहयोग गर्छ. So this is about displacement. Human language possesses this feature and they are able to talk about things and events not present in the immediate environment. So past, past event, past things, and are not in the immediate environment, immediate surrounding, but they can talk about past. Future not available in the immediate environment, they can talk about future. They can talk about what present too. So this kind of ability to think and speak about past, present, future in different ways using language, this is the quality of, this is the characteristic for displacement. So animal communication is generally considered to lack this property. Yes, the property you गुण चाहिँ animal communication हुँदैन. For example, just one example I have given here of this dog. कुकुरको एउटा example छ. For example, when dog comes at home after spending a night outside and stands in front of his owner moving his tail, पुच्छरे हलाएर बस्छ के हैन, त्यसले के कम्युनिकेसन चाहिँ गरिरहेको हुन्छ के, उले म आइपुगे भने होला के होला हैन. So moves his tail. We are likely to understand his message is relating to that immediate time and place. I mean, बुझ्छौं हैन. Then if we ask the dog where was he last night, भन्दाखेरि पनि we get the same response, moving tail. त्यही कुरा हैन, उसले फेरि पुच्छरे हलाउँछ. Same system he uses. So this is what very limited and what closed system. Animal communication does not have this kind of ability, this quality, these characteristics, but human language has. So human language has this quality, which is technically called displacement. Your displacement, your characteristics. So just you can remember that. Dog, example of dog. Arbitrariness is another another characteristics. Arbitrary भनेको स्वेच्छाले के हैन, स्वेच्छा इच्छा अनुसार स्वेच्छा हैन. So स्वेच्छाले हैन, random choice, आफ्नै choice हुन्छ हैन. Then there is no natural connection between the linguistic form and its meaning. Okay, linguistic form र meaning को बीचमा ठ्याक्कै natural connection देखिदैन. यो arbitrary छ के भनेको, no such kind of real and exact and scientific connection. यो scientific connection is, for example, उदाहरणको लागि in human language we see like one example is given here. Now in Nepali language we use what? We use ku kukur हैन, कुकुर भन्छौं हैन. In Hindi we say what? Kutta हैन, kutta, kutta. And in English we say this is what? Dog. We say what? This is dog. Then why these different words are used in different languages? What kind of connection? What kind of natural connection, scientific connection, the word and the meaning they refer to हैन. यहाँ चाहिँ dog भन्नु र कुकुर भन्नु र four-footed animal, pet animal हैन. So what kind of relationship they have? के छ सम्बन्ध? Scientific connection के हो? केही छ केही छैन. This is what arbitrary हो, यो random हो हैन. So four-footed animal, just we understand. So in Nepali the same four-footed animal, a pet animal, we call kukur. Then same four-footed animal, pet animal, we call what? Kutta in Hindi. And same four-footed animal, pet animal in English we call what? Dog. Then what relationship, what connection, what natural connection, what scientific connection is there between what? Linguistic system, linguistic form and its meaning. Form र meaning बीचमा के सम्बन्ध छ भन्दाखेरि सम्बन्धै देखिदैन. जति यो भन्नको, यो बुझ्नको लागि यसरी नै हिजो बोलियो र आज पनि बोलिएको छ. This is what arbitrariness. In language we see this kind of quality. यस्तो देखिन्छ हैन. So there is no direct connection between the objects and the linguistic units. what linguistic units we use, then what object it refers to, it denotes. There is no what such kind of what natural connection, scientific connection. We don't have. So this is what in English. One example: there is no reason why four-legged domestic animal is called dog. In English, kukur in Nepali and kutta in Hindi. There is no such kind of relationship. This is what arbitrariness. This is the property of human language, which is technically called arbitrariness. And this is, you understand the productivity. This is simple. So you also said that human language is a system of systems, and a system of systems. You said human language is what? Rule governed. Rule, GOVERN, rule governed. It has a finite, FINET, finite set of rules. We can produce or generate infinite number of sentences. Infinite number of sentences. Hamisanga finite set of rules are, Simit rules are. Then we can generate infinite number of sentences. Asimit sentence banana sakchau. So human language is what? Human language is this is what? System of systems. System is systems. Systems. So human language is system of system. Pattern, that there is pattern, there is structure, there is rules. Then this is what? A system of system. And a child learning a language is always active in producing words and sentences which he or she has never seen and never heard before. Sentence, sentence produce gardincha bachale. Because of what? Because of language is rule governed. Language has productivity, quality. We can produce many sentences, many words which are not seen before, not heard before. पहिला नदेखेको नसुनेको शब्दहरू पनि अथाह हामी produce गर्न सक्छौं. Because of this, what? Human language has the characteristics of productivity and cultural transmission. You understand, from one generation to another generation we transmit. हामीले एउटा जेनेरेसनबाट अर्को जेनेरेसनमा ट्रान्समिट गर्छौं. ल्याङ्ग्वेज एन्ड कल्चर they are attached together. So the process in which language is passed on from one generation to another generation, from one person to another person, this is what? Cultural transmission. Okay, we see this kind of transmission in human language, but we don't see this kind of quality in animal communication system. You understand, like simply from generation to generation we transmit our what? Culture and language. And duality of structure, this is a little bit technical. For example, like when we use or produce language, we see two levels. We see two levels of human speech sounds. Human speech sounds. They were really human speech sounds. They were duality, double layer, levels or layers produce. For example, just say pa, a, now. This is what? Pen. This is what? Three sounds we have: pa, a, now. So this is what? This is the level of phonemes, phonology. Then when the pen is there, then what is this? This is what? One. This is morphology. Morphology. Now see, at the same time, pa, a, na. Pen भन्दाखेरि दुईटा लेभल हुन्छ. एउटा चाहिँ साउन्ड सिस्टम भयो, अर्को चाहिँ त्यही साउन्ड चाहिँ organized in a logical sequence and produced, and it is meaningful also. Sound हुन्छ, sound सँगसँगै word production. Okay, so language is organized at two levels or layers simultaneously at the same time. This property is called duality or double articulation. Double articulation. Okay, double one with the phonological level of morphological level of phonology one with the sound systems, full phonemes, pa a na you produce or level one. This is what pen is what this is morphological level. Morphology means this word related to the word. So this language is organized at two levels or layers at the same time. This property is called called duality or double articulation. And in terms of speech production, we have the physical level at which we can produce individual sounds like pa, na, a. These sounds at the phonological level we produce pa, na, a भन्छ हैन प न ए भनेको पेन. These pa, na, a, three different phoneme sounds we produce. This is what at phonological level. Then when these individual sounds are grouped together, when they are put together, then pe and pen one word we have, and this is what and writing instrument or writing instrument, which is different from what meaning of NEP, NEP. Oh, okay. So two levels. One is what phonological level sounds we produce. At the same time, these sounds are combined together and what make word with meaningful word. This is what morphological level. This kind of duality of structure and double articulation of sounds at one level and words at another level. So we see this in human communication system, but we don't see this kind of structure in animal communication system. Because of this characteristic makes human language different from other communication system. अरु भन्दा यसले गर्दाखेरि के हुन्छ भने अरु भन्दा फरक हुन्छ हैन. In terms of speech production, we have the physical level at which we can produce individual sounds and individual sounds. Another is individual sounds, they do not have the intrinsic meaning. यो प आफैमा कुनै मिनिङ दिदैन, यो साउन्ड मात्रै हो. ए भनेको साउन्ड मात्रै, यसको छुट्टै अर्थ छैन, न छुट्टै अर्थ छैन. They are sounds, but when they are put together in a logical sequence, then P and pen word is there, then it has what one meaning, that is what writing instrument, pen. So this kind of at one level we have distinct sounds, at another level we have distinct meanings. एउटा लेभलमा साउन्डहरु भयो, साउन्डहरु भयो. अर्को लेभलमा when these sounds are organized or put together and they give what distinctive meaning, different meaning, separate meaning. And this is what duality of what this duality of labels is in fact one characteristic of what simply one of the one characteristics of one feature of human language. In this way we understand that. Finally, modifiability is what we can change the language. So language changes according to time. After long practice, we see change in language. Language change, but animal communication system or other communication system, we don't see change in language. This is changeability and modifiability. For example, just like time भन्यो हैन. अब हामीले यो टाइम चाहिँ इंग्लिश वर्ड हो नि त हैन, तर नेपालीमा अब यो हामीले नेपालीकरण गर्न खोजिरहेका छौं. समय भन्न गाह्रो हुन्छ, हामीलाई टाइम भन्न सजिलो हुन्छ हैन. आफ्टर लङ प्र्याक्टिस हैन. So this will go in Nepali language. त्यसरी जान सक्छ हैन. So हामी पहिला हैन एन्सेस्टरहरु हाम्रो प्रेडिसेसरहरुको पालामा चाहिँ युज हुने ल्याङ्ग्वेज र आजभोलि युज हुने ल्याङ्ग्वेजमा फरक पर्छ हैन. गइस्यो, खाइस्यो, आइस्यो भन्ने पहिलाको भाषाहरुमा अब फेरि बिस्तारै चेन्ज हुँदै जान्छ. So this kind of changeability, modifiability we see in human language. This is another characteristics. So these are some to mention here, like displacement. Humans can talk about present, past, and future. One example we can give from the dog. When dog comes at home after spending one night outside and stands in front of his owner, moving his tail, puchhari halaउँछ. And then when we ask, then where were you last night? Again, same process, response, moving tail will be there. So animal cannot talk about present, past, and future in different way, but humans, they can talk. Arbitrariness, there is no natural connection, scientific reason why the linguistic system or why the linguistic form is used to refer to particular object or meaning, like kukur in what Nepali, then kutta in Hindi, dog in English. There is no any such reason. And productivity, you understand, human language is rule governed. It has finite set of rules and can produce or generate infinite number of sentences which are grammatically well formed, acceptable, and communicable, understandable, readable. So cultural transmission, you understand, from one generation to another, we transfer language and culture. सँगसँगै जान्छ हैन. So duality of structure. So double system we see. First at the sound level, then another what? This is another what? Word level. Sound level, this is phonology. Then morphological word level, this is morphology. We see two levels. So this is what? Duality of structure. At the same time, pain भन्दाखेरि साउन्डहरु पनि त्यही हुन्छ र word पनि त्यही आयो भनेपछि, so sounds one level, words another level. At the same time, we produce and we communicate our ideas. So this is what we see in human language. Then we don't see in other what? Animal communication system. Modifiability, language change after long practice, after long time, can occur in human language. But this kind of change we don't see in other communication system. So these are the characteristics. Definition very briefly we did. Animal communication system and human communication system very briefly we checked. Now we have to discuss about varieties. अब यहाँसम्म आउँदाखेरि के क्वेसन छ भने यसो च्याट बक्समा राख्नुस् त. Language is used for a specific purpose, maybe the characteristics. So specific purpose भन्नुभएको छ. So and purpose is the communication, to express, to communicate our purpose, our desire, our ideas, feelings. त्यो नै आउने भएकोले, so this is what यो के भन्छ भने displacement मा पनि आउँछ हैन. We talk about what characteristics. Is it so? This purpose is not characteristics. We use to communicate. Communication is what? Purpose. So other communication systems also used to to fulfill the purpose. Human language also used to fulfill the purpose. So purpose is both, animal communication system and purpose huncha, human language and purpose huncha हैन. So yes, like purpose भन्नेले त determine गरेन नि. यो अरु communication system भन्दा यो communication system चाहिँ distinctive छ भन्न पर्यो हैन. So purpose is not characteristics. So productivity again once भन्नुभएको छ. Productivity मा चाहिँ simply के बुझ्नु भने human language is rule governed हैन. rule ले govern गरेर हुन्छ, rule छ हैन. त्यतिकै बोलिदैन, rule छ. Then rules are finite, सीमित छ. Finite rules we have. Then using finite set of rules, we can produce infinite number of sentences. असीमित अथवा नयाँ novel and new sentences, words we can produce. This kind of ability we human beings have by the use of language. So this is what productivity. Productivity मा productivity मा चाहिँ उत्पादन गर्न सक्ने के हैन. हामीले चाहिँ फरक तरिकाले सोच्न सक्ने, फरक तरिकाले व्यक्त गर्न सक्ने हैन. So we can do this because of what? Because of we have finite set of rules. then limited rules. By the use of limited and finite set of rules, unlimited and novel creative sentences, words we cannot produce. This is. So referential language and representational language, this is आउँदैन. So यो चाहिँ हामीले स्किलहरुमा हैन पढ्दाखेरि चाहिँ फंक्सनहरु पढ्दाखेरि लिएर आउनुपर्छ र लक्षण. So we discussed there. Arbitrariness simply के बुझौं भने randomly we use language or produce linguistic system. Arbitrariness भनेको त्यो कुनै त्यस्तो scientific reason, logical connection हुँदैन कि linguistic system, linguistic code र object it refers to. For example, तपाईले एउटा भन्नु P and pen भन्नुभयो हैन. P and pen, this is linguistic system. यो pen भन्ने word र linguistic form र यसले indicate गर्ने meaning छ नि, and writing instrument or writing instrument भन्ने. So pen and writing instrument, what kind of connection they have? के छ त form and function को relationship के हो भन्दा there is not such scientific reason, logic, and the natural connection between the word and the language which we use to refer to that word, object. त्यो object र त्यो word बीचको चाहिँ सम्बन्ध scientific छैन भन्न खोजेको यो arbitrariness भनेको हैन. जस्तै dog को one example we gave in English dog, in Nepali kukur, and in Hindi kutta. So same meaning is same, four-footed, four-legged, wild animal. This is pet animal, but in one language another word, in another language another, in another language next. Why this is? But this is what arbitrary, random use. There is no systematic connection, logical connection, natural connection between the linguistic form and the meaning it refers to. So okay, in this way, now varieties of language, especially here, we have to discuss about these things. यो कुराहरु चाहिँ हेर्नु पर्ला हैन. Dialect, register, इडिलेक्ट यो जानेर बसौं. यसो knowledge हुन्छ linguistics को बारेमा हैन, language को बारेमा. Then on the basis of this pedagogical implication हाम्रो त्यहाँ हुन्छ, त्यतापट्टि यसको flavorहरु idea we have to utilize. Now, I think this is simple. Can you write in the chat box what is dialect? What is dialect? Dialect बारे लेख्नुस् त ल chat box मा. What is dialect? So Krishna has written, so can we write interchangeability is one characteristic of a human language? भन्नुभएको छ. यहाँ चाहिँ मैले के लेखेँ भने सुरुमा यहाँ हेर्नु त, like there have been a number of attempts, प्रयासहरु भए to determine the defining properties, characteristics of human language. Is a different list of features, characteristics, different list of characteristics. RACTERIES. Character. As a result, what different list of characteristics can be found. Generally, the following 6 features describe how they are unique in human language. यो भनेको जर्ज यूले दिएको हो हैन. जर्ज यूल कोबाट ल्याएको हो. Generally, there are others also given by other scholars, like you said, Hockett ले दिएको छ भन्नुभएको छ. यो चाहिँ जर्ज यूलको हो हैन, जर्ज यूलबाट लिएर आएको. So if you understand these things, you यदि पुग्छ होला भनेर मात्रै हो हैन. So for example, म तपाईलाई यो देखाइदिन्छु एउटा. So different scholars have viewed from different perspective. जर्ज यूलको द स्टडी अफ ल्याङ्ग्वेज भन्ने बुकबाट ल्याएको. Generally we see these you कुराहरु देखिन्छ हैन. डिस्प्लेसमेन्ट, cultural transmission, arbitrariness, एक मिनट है इधर. So this is one book by George Yule, The Study of Language, and here is the features of characteristics of human language. And just you can study this. Morphology, semantics, grammar, syntax, then language, word formation, prescriptive approach, descriptive approach, animal and human communication system. Now see यहाँ चाहिँ यो animals and human language communication, properties of human language, displacement, arbitrariness, cultural transmission, productivity, duality, and these characteristics are given in this book. So this is also one very useful book for this unit, language and linguistics. Your language also linguistic semantics, pragmatics, morphology, phonology, sound system, phonemes, allophones, or so this book is, I think, will be useful for you. Then we talk about approaches of language. The approaches of language ma यही छ दुई तीनटा approach एक किताबमा. For example, sorry, what are approaches of language? This so prescriptive approach, descriptive approach, these approaches are here. We talk. This is what after this dialects we talk about approaches from the same book. So you can consult this book. Now we talk about dialect or dialect. We say dialect is what? This is, I think you have written in the chat box. I'll check it. And this is what George Yule 2020. What this is the source. And Hockit also you can give example. Can we write one? Yes, we can write, but justification how that characteristic is used to talk in favor of what human language is unique than other. Kina unique chauru bhanda bhanera justify एउटा दुईटा सेन्टेन्सहरु लेख्नु पर्यो त्यसबाट है. We can also write from Hockit. Now we are in the dialect. So I check your chat box. Words and grammatical structures. Dialect is language spoken in one part of the country. Speaker using language English as American and British. Dialect. Okay. Different in utterances in respect to social and geographical situation. Okay. Dialect is user-based variety of language. Great. Dialect is user-based variety of language. Great. It is what is the difference between Nepali sound and English sound? Parkas kina jump gare अहिले sound को बारेमा त आउँदै छ त्यो पछि. language is spoken in one part of a place by particular group of people which is different in some word grammar from standard language is called dialect. Okay, dialect simply you can say this is what DIALEC. Dialect is variety of VARIE, variety of language. You are simply we can say this variety. Vivid, okay, variety in the sense of word and then what word level हुन सक्छ हैन, then sentence level हुन सक्छ, structure हुन सक्छ, के होला हैन. So dialect is variety of language. So variety हुन्छ. Then user based variety is called dialect. It's called dialect. हैन. Then field based or use based used based variety is called what? This is what used based variety is called register. Say variety the variety नै हो. User based variety is dialect, used based variety is register, and individual based variety is called idiolect, idiolect. So one is dialect is variety of language, user based variety is called dialect, used based variety is called register, individual based variety is called idiolect, and Pidgin and Creole. Pidgin is what? Pidgin is a language, a variety of language without native speakers. Now Creole is what? Creole is CREOLE. Creole is a variety of language with native speaker. ल यति कुराहरु यो 4-5 वटा कन्सेप्ट यतिमा आउनु पर्यो है. So of course variation or variety will be there हैन in the use of language. Variety हुन्छ, विविधता हुन्छ. User based variety is called dialect, and used based variety is called register, and individual based variety is called what? Idiolect. And what variety of language without native speakers. Native speakers छैन त्यसको, that is Pidgin. Variety of language with native speakers, त्यसको native speaker छ भने, and this is what? Creole. So यो 5 वटा टर्म चाहिँ यसरी बुझ्नु पर्यो. यसको अहिले म justification दिन्छु. Examples we discuss. Then dialect, just we understand what this dialect means what? अथवा हामीले यसो भनौं, there are varieties of what? Language. Varieties of language. There are varieties of language. User based variety is called dialect. Used based variety is called register. Individual speaker based variety is called idiolect. Pidgin with variety of language without native speaker is variety of language without native speakers, it's called Pidgin. Then variety of language variety a variety of language without native speaker is called Pidgin. A variety of language with native speaker is called what? Is called what? This is Creole. CREOLE, Creole. Now, what's an example here? Then we understand. Yes, trade. You have written. Sandesh has written. Pidgin is a trade language. We can call it. So in exam writer's name लेख्नु पर्छ पर्दैन भन्नुभएको छ. So no need to mention the writer's name. Just you have to justify, you have to give examples, evidences how that particular characteristic is related to human language. त्यो justification भयो, evidence भयो भने पर्याप्त हुन्छ. राइटरहरुको definition अथवा citation not necessary in from the examiner's point of view, but what you can give तपाईले राइटरहरुको नाम दिनुभयो मजाले लेख्न सक्नु भएन, that's also good, but this is not compulsory option. This is not for obligatory part. You know, you remember, you can write, that's fine, because this is what theory part also. Your theory part pani ho, theory part ma chahi we can give the reference also, or the citation also. If you know and remember, you do. Otherwise, zigzag mix match गर्ने त्यस्तो गरेर चाहिँ नदिनुस्. Clear छ भने दिनुस्. According to Yule to 2020, the following are the some distinctive characteristics of human language, which are briefly discussed below. According to Hockett 1970, and these are the features. अथवा Hockett 1970 and Yule 2020, from them we can have the following features of language. त्यसरी लेख्न पाइन्छ हैन. If you know, if you are confident हुन्छ भने त्यसरी लेखौं है त. भएन भने the following are the characteristics of human language we can see in human communication system. Because of these characteristics, human language is unique than other communication system भनेर लेखिदिँदा पनि हुन्छ हैन. These are common. Generally, these are the characteristics भन्दा पनि भयो. According to Hockett, these are the characteristics भन्दा पनि भयो. According to the Yule 2020, these are the characteristics भन्दा पनि भयो. According to Hockett and Yule, some characteristics we can borrow, and they are given below भन्दा पनि भयो. So the way you present depends or determines, but you should be confident to cite the writer's name. Confident हुनु पर्यो. Yule कति हो, Hockett कति हो, Yule 2020 भने जस्तो, Hockett I think 1970 कति हो है. So like this. Now Pidgin is trade language. Sandesh has written. Lakshmana has written. Kirill's development of Pidgin. Yes, we talk it. हामीले यसलाई कुरा गर्छौं. Examples of variety of language. Kamal has written. Examples of variety of language. Okay, these are the varieties. So dialect is one variety. Register is another variety. Idiolect is another variety. So Pidgin is variety, Creole is variety. Kamal has written variety of examples of variety of language. These are the varieties. Variety भनेको यिनै हो. VARIETY, variety of language. GUAG, variety of language. This is. So dialect is one variety of language. Then register is another variety of language we can use. Okay. Now systematically there are varieties of language like this way. For example, we can give here. For example, DIALECT, dialect, REGIST, register, and then what IDOLECT, idiolect, and PIDGI and Pidgin, and CREOL, Creole, etc. These are the varieties of language. Now, user-based variety is called dialect. Use-based variety is called register. Individual-based. Now, share. Example. Now, dialect, for example, user-based means so language use may vary from society to society, society to society, or from one society to another society, and from one region to another region, from one region to another. So now here user-based variety here refers to dialect, and language use may vary from society to society, may vary from region to another region. Then so if if language differs, if the language, if the use of language differs from one society, one SOCIE to a society to another society, it is called if use of language differs from one society to another society, what do we call it technically? Can you write in the chat box? From one society to another society. Yes, social act. Tikaram has written. This is what social, SOCIOELECT, social act. We call what social act, right? Yeah. Sorry. SOCIOELECT, social act. अथवा यसलाई सोशल एक्ट भन्दाखेरि स्पेलिङ देखाएन सोसियो या सोसिआइएलइसिटी हो या सोसिआइओ सोसियल एक्ट हुनुपर्ने स्पेलिङ यसरी गलत भयो भने यसरी यो हुँदैन सोशल डायलेक्ट भनिदिनु न सो या सोसिआइएल सोशल डायलेक्ट दिस इज आवर सोशल डायलेक्ट हैन DIA social dialect, one, if it differs from one geographical region to another geographical region. Yes, if it differs from one geographical region to another geographical region, it is called this is called regional dialect. Yes, REGIONL, regional dialect or dialect. DIALECT, regional dialect. So social dialect, regional dialect we have. One society to another society it differs. This is what social dialect. Okay, social dialect. Dialect it was user-based variety. एउटा समाजमा प्रयोग हुने भाषा र अर्को समाजमा प्रयोग हुने भाषा त्यही भाषा हो त्यही नेपाली ल्याङ्ग्वेज नै हो फर एक्जाम्पल इमेजिन फर समटाइम्स सेम नेपाली ल्याङ्ग्वेज वी युज इन वन सोसाइटी एन्ड इन अनदर सोसाइटी इन डिफरेन्ट वे फरक हुन्छ हैन जुन मर्फोलोजीमा फरक हुन्छ हैन वर्डमै फरक आउँछ क्या मिनिङमा फरक आउन सक्ला हैन सो दिस इज व्हाट variety, user-based variety dialect. Then language may be vary or different from society to society, from one geographical region to another geographical region. Geographical region to another. So, if the use of language differs from one society to another society, it is called social dialect. It is called social dialect. If it differs from one geographical region to another geographical region, this is what regional dialect. अब यहाँ एउटा उदाहरण दिन्छु म तपाईहरुलाई. For example, the Newari language spoken in spoken in Kathmandu Valley, Kathmandu Valley, and the Newari language spoken in Bhaktapur, Nashia. The Newari language spoken in Kathmandu Valley and the Newari language spoken in Bhaktapur will differ in some cases like morphology may farak parcha like in morphology and this is called what social dialect DIALECT social dialect एउटा सोसाइटीबाट अर्को सोसाइटीमा युज भयो हैन then so the Nepali language which we use in the eastern part of Nepal and the Nepali language which we use in the far western part of Nepal, so they will differ. Difference हुन्छ. पूर्वमा बोल्ने नेपाली भाषा र पश्चिम सुदूरपश्चिमतिर बोल्ने नेपाली भाषाहरू अनि गएर पश्चिमको चाहिँ हाम्रो उता बागलुङतिर हैन म्याग्दीतिर बोल्ने भाषाहरू के हुन्छ नि अ काइन्ड अफ डिफरेन्स विल बी देयर सो दिस इज व्हाट रिजनल डायलेक्ट हैन so the language this is what user based variety so user based variety we can give example from society perspective from geographical regional perspective this is called dialect right so just simply you understand the Newari language is spoken in Kathmandu Valley and the is spoken in Bhaktapur Lalitpur so will differ in some cases like morphology word mein farak parcha ke this is called social then similarly the Nepali language is spoken where is spoken in the EAST and eastern part of Nepal hamro purba ma bolne Nepali bhasha ra and Nepali language spoken where in the far western far western part of a region far western region region will differ this is called what this is called this regional dialect so in this way dialect we can morphology Nepali meaning is morphology भनेको word मा के word शब्दमा morphology syntax phonology हामी के भन्छ phonetics phonology morphology syntax semantics pragmatics discourse भन्छौं नि these are the levels of language phonetics phonology morphology पछि हाम्रो syntax आउँछ syntax पछि semantics आउँछ pragmatics आउँछ हैन discourse these are the what levels of language morphology is phonetics related to the sounds how sounds are articulated phonology is the phonology related to the phonemes full phonemes separate phonemes and then their combination for the combinations are related huncha morphology is what with the words how words are formed भन्ने नै morphology हो then syntax related to the sentence semantics related to the meaning pragmatics related to the meaning and context सँग सम्बन्धित हुन्छ discourse is what this is unit of a kind of language भनौं sociality is variety of language within language example Nepali language खानुस् र खाइसियोस् भन्दा मिल्छ कि मिल्दैन so within society from one society to another society if we use this we can give this example so in one society खानुस् भनिन्छ हैन in another society खाइसियो गइसियो भनेर युज गरिन्छ भने and this is what same for the same meaning we use what different forms of language this is what variety मा जान्छ okay now from here you understand पूर्वमा जस्तै हौ भनेर बोलिन्छ हैन हौ कता जाने हो भन्छ नि हैन अनि सुदूर पश्चिमतिर गयो भने फेरि अर्को चाहिँ बागलुङ पर्वततिरहरु गयो भने गइच खाइच यस्तो हुन्छ नि यो अलिकति टोनहरुमा अनि मोर्फोलोजीमै फरक पर्दिन्छ के वर्डहरुमै फरक पर्दिन्छ त्यो बोलेको टोनहरुमा हैन सो के भन्छ भने because of this dialect 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 betrays भन्छ नि betrays betrays speakers personality पनि भन्छ के speakers personality यो भने के हो उसको ल्याङ्ग्वेजबाट उ कहाँबाट आएको भन्ने कुरा पनि थाहा हुन्छ कि कुन ठाउँबाट कतातिरबाट आएको भन्ने पनि थाहा हुन्छ क्या यसो बोली सुनेपछि पश्चिमबाट आएको रहेछ भन्ने हुन्छ यसो बोली सुनेपछि पूर्वतिरको मान्छे रहेछ क्या भन्ने हुन्छ क्या सो बिट्रेज पर्सनालिटी भन्छ के उले उसको व्यक्तित्वलाई झल्काइदिन्छ के उसको ल्याङ्ग्वेजले सो दिस इज व्हाट डायलेक्ट सो डिफरेन्ट इन द युज अफ ल्याङ्ग्वेज according to the what society this is social dialect according to geographical region this is what geographical region is regional dialect explain who yes this means yes dialect gives one's identity introduction परिचय नै दिन्छ के डायलेक्टले कहाँबाट आएको हो हैन which area he or she belongs to either in the eastern part or the far western part or the western part, pasim, sudar pasim, purva, madhya pasim, kahako, a kind of what we say, personality, a kind of introduction, information we can get from the language used by the speaker. So dialect gives bit place भन्दा अलिकति गाह्रो होला तपाईलाई, gives भन्दिम न, dialect gives speakers personality, व्यक्तित्व नै झल्काइदिन्छ के। ओ बागलुङतिरबाट आउनु भएको रहेछ, ओ उतातिर चाहिँ हैन गुल्मीतिरबाट आउनु भएको रहेछ, ओ तपाईँ चाहिँ उता सुदूरपश्चिम पूर्वतिरको भन्ने हुन्छ नि। सो ओके, डिक्सनरी चाहिँ सोशल डायलेक्ट, रिजनल डायलेक्ट भन्दा चल्छ, जियोलेक्ट, सोशलेक्ट भन्नुभएको छ, द्याट्स फाइन। This is the what user based variety. Then user based variety. Then now let's talk about what register. Register, simply what we understand, register is what used based variety. Used based, user based भन्ने बित्तिकै, user based भन्ने बित्तिकै, so this is what dialect मा जान्छ। user based, how we are using, कसरी प्रयोग गरिन्छ त्यसले चाहिँ variety creation गर्छ र, that is what dialect. Then register is what use based variety of language. This is variety of language, but in terms of what, on the basis of used, you field based, field based, used based variety of language यो पनि भनिन्छ भने। This is also called what field based variety, field based variety of language, variety of language. Simply you can give example, yes, Sandesh has written occupation based variety of language. अरु पनि लेख्नुस् त, लेख त, what is register, can you write in the chat box? Okay, like the language used in the language used in education sector differs from the language used in what, politics. अब हेर्नु त, politics मा युज हुने वर्ड र एजुकेसन सेक्टरमा युज हुने वर्ड फरक पर्छ पर्दैन? So the language which we use in politics will differ with the words in what development, governance, leadership मा जाने, policy मा use हुने. So language differs from one field to another field. एउटा फिल्ड र अर्को यो इस्टाब्लिश प्र्याक्टिस नै हो। जस्तै हामी एजुकेसन इङ्ग्लिशमा पढ्ने ल्याङ्ग्वेज र आर्ट्स इङ्ग्लिशमा पढ्ने ल्याङ्ग्वेजमा फरक पर्छ। दिस इज रजिस्टर, दिस इज used based variety, use based variety, field based variety is called what, register. जब्स भन्दा पनि फिल्ड भन्यो नि, फिल्ड बेस्ड हैन। सिमिलरली similarly the language used in education English हैन, एजुकेसन इङ्ग्लिस, हामी चाहिँ एजुकेसन इङ्ग्लिसको भयौँ हैन, धेरै साथीहरू यहाँ आर्ट्स इङ्ग्लिसको हुनुहुन्छ होला। सिमिलरली द ल्याङ्ग्वेज युज्ड इन एजुकेसन इङ्ग्लिस will differ from what, will differ from the language which we use where, which we use in humanities and social sciences हैन। यहाँ प्रयोग हुने यहाँको इङ्ग्लिस, so social sciences, yes, CINC, social sciences. Now here humanities, the English language, the English language used in education English will differ from the English language which we use in humanities and social sciences. This is what register. English, arts English use हुने वर्डहरु र एजुकेसन इङ्ग्लिशमा युज हुने वर्डहरु फरक हुन्छ। Yes, Ekraj has written I am from arts भन्नुभएको छ। So the words of course will be different from arts and education English. This is register. यसलाई सिम्पली यसरी बुझौँ हैन। So there are the different words हैन। Now, idiolect idiolect. What is this? This is what individual differences. INDIVIDUL, individual differences we see, and individual differences in the use of language. In the use of language, this is what is called idiolect. IDOLECT, idiolect. For example, the way you pronounce the words will be different from the way I pronounce the word. मैले उच्चारण गर्ने र तपाईले गर्ने, this will be different. यो फरक हुन्छ यहाँनिर, हैन? For example, जस्तै for example, उदाहरणको लागि यहाँ लेख्न त मिलेन, तपाईले जस्तो this textbook भन्दाखेरि textbook भन्दाखेरि how do you pronounce, like textbook भन्यो भने कसैले textbook भन्नुहुन्छ, हैन? कसैले textbook भन्नुहुन्छ, textbook भन्नुहुन्छ, कसैले textbook भन्नुहुन्छ. So this is individual difference, and this is the example of what idiolect. Okay, so they have different pronunciation, different tone, intonation, and will be what individually specific. So individual differences in the use of language is called idiolect. Simply you understand this. And pidgin is what? Pidgin is a variety of language. A variety of language. यहाँ चाहिँ के फरक हुन्छ भने a variety of language without native speakers. Native speakers चाहिँ यसमा हुँदैन. For example, you have written in the chat box also, like trade language को कुरा गरौँ. Pidgin is what? PIDGIN. Pidgin is trade language. Trade, TRED, trade language. हैन? अब थोरै कुरा गरौँ यसको बारेमा. Pidgin is trade language भनेको जस्तै this is contact language, lingua franca पनि भन्नुभएको छ, हैन? Pidgin is trade language, हैन? It is CONTACT, contact language. It is also called lingua franca, lingua FRANC franca we call it, so lingua franca. And then contact language, link language पनि भनिन्छ, contact language, link language, auxiliary language, link language पनि भनिन्छ, जोड छ के यसले. So pidgin is trade language, it is contact language or link language, it is also called lingua franca, so this means speakers from different languages meet, and speakers from different languages meet. Lingua franca means भन्नुभएको छ. Lingua franca भनेको so link language नै हो. Lingua franca is link language. Link language means speakers from different native languages, they meet and they have to communicate their purpose, their idea, and their objectives. They have to communicate their ideas among speakers of different languages. They use a typical type of language that is called what? Lingua franca. Lingua franca हुन सक्छ, हैन? So contact language also, contact language, link language, then what? Trade language, auxiliary language, lingua franca we can call. But what we have to understand is hybrid language. Yes, hybrid language also we can call it, हैन? Pidgin ला चाहिँ तर के बुझ्नु पर्यो भने speakers from different languages meet and what? Communicate with each other. फरक language को speaker भेट हुन्छ, then they communicate using what? Particular language. Now यो चाहिँ pidgin को बारे भयो. अब एउटा के बुझ्नु पर्यो भने all for example all pidgin, PIDGIN, all pidgin languages are what? Are lingua franca, lingua franca, but vice versa is not true. Vice versa is not true. What is this? What is this? So all pidgin languages are lingua franca, and they are link language. All pidgin languages are link language, lingua franca, contact language, hybrid language, we can say, but vice versa is not true. All lingua francas are not what all lingua francas are not what pidgin language. For example, उदाहरणको लागि we can just take for example एउटा उदाहरण लिउँ हैन. English is what? English language is this lingua franca. Lingua franca. English language is lingua franca, but not pidgin. You pidgin होइन. But this is not pidgin language. But this is not pidgin. Pidgin होइन. किनभने English has its own status, its own recognition, its own native speakers, users. सँग छ हैन. Englishलाई lingua franca भनिन्छ, but this is not what pidgin. Pidgin होइन. So pidgin is what? Pidgin was lingua franca. Pidgin is used to link, to communicate with the speakers of different languages. फरक भाषा बोल्ने वक्ताहरू अथवा भनौं स्पिकरको बीचमा चाहिँ कम्युनिकेट गर्न पर्यो भने हाइब्रिड टाइप अफ ल्याङ्ग्वेज के, a kind of mixed language, hybrid language, blended type of language हैन. We develop and communicate with each other हैन. त्यस्तो के हाइब्रिड टाइपको ल्याङ्ग्वेज चाहिँ युज डेभलप गरेर कम्युनिकेट गरिन्छ. बिकज for example, I am from Newari background. Some of you are from Magar background, another from Hindi or English हैन. हामी 4-5 वटा भाषाको भेट भयौं हैन. Then we don't know each other's language. म नेवारीले अरु भाषा बुझ्दिन, अरु इंग्लिशकोले अरु भाषा बुझ्दैन भनेपछि अब त्यहाँ कम्युनिकेसन त गर्न पर्यो. To communicate we have to use what? One simple type of hybrid type of language just to communicate our objectives हैन. That is what pidgin language. त्यसमा नेटिभ स्पिकर हुँदैन, कोही पनि नेटिभ स्पिकर छैन त्यसमा. सबै के हो नन नेटिभ स्पिकर हो, but they need to communicate. And they use what? This kind of contact language. It is यो सुरुमा ट्रेडबाट के व्यापारबाट सुरु भएको थियो. When people from one country to another country, from one part to another part, they moved for the purpose of trade. नयाँ ठाउँमा जाँदाखेरि त बोल्न पर्यो, कम्युनिकेट गर्न पर्यो. त्यति बेला के हुन्छ नि, they do not know each other's language, and to communicate they use a kind of hybrid type of language, and this is what pidgin language. And when they separate, when they go back, or when they separate from one another, then कसैले पनि बोल्दैन त्यो भाषा. जब हामी एक ठाउँमा भेट भएको थियौं बोल्नको लागि के ल्याङ्ग्वेज युज गर्नु त्यो के भयो, pidgin ल्याङ्ग्वेज भयो. जब हामी फर्कन्छौं, छुट्छौं, साथीभाइहरु छुट्छौं, त्यसपछि के हुन्छ, then त्यो भाषा कसैले पनि बोल्दैन. So pidgin has short life पनि भन्छ. Pidgin has short life, very short life. Pidgin has a very short life. Short life because of two reasons. दुईटा कारणले गर्दाखेरि हो. One, एउटा कारण हो. Can you write what are the two reasons? One is what? When the purpose of speakers from different languages, from different languages fulfilled, पूरा भयो हैन. पूरा हुने बित्तिकै के हुन्छ भने, when the purpose of speakers from different languages fulfilled, and then what? They they separate. SEPARAT. They separate. Then they don't use this language for communication. उद्देश्य पूरा भयो, तिनीहरु पनि छुट्टे भने त्यो भाषा फेरि कसैले प्रयोग गर्दैन. प्रयोग नगर्ने बित्तिकै हुन्छ डेड ल्याङ्ग्वेज, सकिन्छ त्यो. लाइफ इज व्हाट? ओभर, सकियो. One, when pidgin pidgin receives native speaker, बोल्दा बोल्दा अनि नेटिभ स्पिकर पाउने बित्तिकै हुन्छ, when pidgin receives native speaker, त्यहाँ पनि उसको pidgin को स्ट्याटस सकियो हैन. When pidgin receives native speakers, it turns into Creole मा जान्छ. फेरि Creole मा गइदिहाल्छ. It turns into Creole. So native speaker पाउने बित्तिकै Creole मा जान्छ. Native speaker नपाएर कसैले पनि बोल्न छोड्यो भने मरिहाल्छ. So it has very short life because of these two reasons हैन. Pidgin is it called? Pidgin is what? A variety of language without native speakers. Then this is also called trade language. होइन, ट्रेड ल्याङ्ग्वेज, कन्ट्याक्ट ल्याङ्ग्वेज, लिङ्क ल्याङ्ग्वेज, एक्जुलर ल्याङ्ग्वेज, लिङ्गुआ फ्रेङ्का. And this means when the speakers from different languages meet together, they don't know each other's language. Now they need to communicate. They need to communicate for certain purpose. Might be trade purpose, might be some other purpose. They create some kind of hybrid form of language that is not related to particular native language. Kunaiसँग related छैन, but they create such hybrid language. When they fulfill their objectives, purpose, and they separate, and that language won't be spoken by anyone. कसैले युज गर्दैन, then what that language will be dead language. त्यही सकिन्छ. When it receives native speaker, then it turns into Creole. Native speaker पाउने बित्तिकै त्यो के Creole भइदिन्छ. Then this is what Pidgin has, very short life, variety of language, has short life, it is linked language. भने यति केही कुराहरु बुझौं. Creole is what? Creole is also variety of what? Variety of language. हैन? Variety of language. Creole is Creole C-R-E-O-L, Creole. Creole, हैन? Creole is also variety of language. Creole has a native speaker. अथवा यसलाई के भनौं भने, when Pidgin receives native speakers, then it turns into Creole. Creole मा जान्छ कि variety of language नै हो. जब Creole ले native speakerहरु पाउँछ नि, त्यसपछि के हुन्छ, यो Creole मा जान्छ, हैन? For example, एउटा सामान्य उदाहरण दिउँ. मेरै उदाहरण लम्मा. For example, I married with a woman who speaks, different language that I cannot understand. मैले बुझ्न सक्दिन उसको भाषा, तर उसको र मेरो बिहे भयो भने उ र म बीचमा बोल्नको लागि एउटा भाषा, कम्युनिकेसन लागि एउटा hybrid type of language we create, हैन? We create. Then the baby which receives birth from our family, and will start to learn that language from the beginning. भने सानो बच्चाले उले के गर्छ भने सुरुदेखि नै त्यो भाषा बोल्न सुरु गर्छ. भने उसले नेटिभ स्पिकर पाए त्यो पिजिनले चाहिँ, देन अब त्यो चाहिँ केमा टर्न हुन्छ, त्यो चाहिँ क्रियोलमा जान्छ, हैन? When Pidgin language receives its native speaker, then it turns into the what? Creole language. Like Creole bhancha. This is also variety of language. So as चाहिँ यति नै गरौँ, varieties of language ma. So then according to the socio-linguistic situation, we use different varieties of language. Like dialect, we see dialect also, social dialect, regional dialect. Social dialect is what user-based variety, हैन? So one society to another society, one geographical region to another geographical region. Register is field-based variety, use-based variety, like language of humanities and social sciences will be different from the language of education, English or education, So politics, language of politics will be different from the language of policy, leadership development. You field answer idiolect, this is individual specific, and Pidgin, this is what contact language, trade language, short history, short life it has. Then when it receives native speaker, it turns into the Creole. Yesto variety-हरु चाहिँ हामीले देख्न पाउँछौं here. So here bullets, key points are mentioned here, and today we just discussed. And approaches tomorrow we start. Unit 7 भने हिजो म पढाइदिसकेको छु, Unit 7 note. So you contact to the administration. Unit 7, yes, Unit 9. Unit 9 त यही हैन? के हो Unit 9? Seven I have sent. You contact to the administration, and this is which Unit 8 right? So Unit 9 के थियो हाम्रो? Linguistics, हैन? Linguistics पढाइसकेको छु. Unit 7 writing and reading, written language पढाइसकेको छु. मैले पढाउन बाँकी भनेको Chapter 6 र Chapter 8 हो है. Basics of grammar र language and linguistics अरु सबै पढाएको छ. All I have sent. तपाईहरुलाई मैले पठाएको चाहिँ नोटहरुमा चाहिँ म देखाइदिन्छु। एडमिनिस्ट्रेसनमा कन्ट्याक्ट गर्नु होला हैन। सो यो सबै आएको छ हेर्नुस् त यहाँ यो यति सबै मैले पठाइदिएको छु यो युनिट 1 2 3 4 5 हरु यसरी 26 27 वटा फाइल छ 27 वटा फाइल छ रिडिङ राइटिङ सम्म दिस ऑल आई हैव सेन्ट युनिट 1 को चाहिँ दुईटा फाइल छ तपाईले एउटा थोरै आएको छ भन्नुभएको छ दुईटा छ फाइल युनिट 1 को and unit 3 also 4 5 6 7 also 8 also 9 also 10 also 6 र 6 छैन हैन 1 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 3 3 3 4 4 5 5 5 5 5 7 7 10 9 यति कुरा छ ओके you contact unit and also I have sent thank you आजलाई यति नै गरौँ है